Come on.
Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to the last Inside the Cardinal Playbook of the year. And on a good note, I'm all smiles. I know you are. And we talked about 3 or 4 weeks ago that we really needed to try to run the string the last 3 ball games of the year. We did. And it was a great win for us. And you just were talking about the win down there. And it was a close ball game. Why don't you just kind of chime in on the thought you would share with me before we got on the air?
You know, that's as close a ball game as you ever want to have, and especially when you got as few hairs on your head as I already do. I told our players after the game again, hey, we got to stop doing them like that. But, you know, it took me a while after the game as we were talking to really enjoy the win, you know, because we didn't play very good. We did at times, but we had too many mistakes and turned the ball over and, you know, didn't finish. We had a chance to just finish them off. We're up a couple touchdowns and got a chance to finish them off, and we let momentum swing the other day. Now we're playing a team in our new conference on the road, 8 hours from home, and it's their senior day. And, you know, their little quarterback was a senior.
He was tough.
He was not a great, talented kid, but a freaking gutsy player.
He was tough.
He wasn't going to lose and let it go, and fought them back into it. And you know, thinking to myself, you know, on the bus ride home, you know, now I'm glad it happened that way, because, you know, you can go out and win a game like that by 20 or 30, and it's a good win, but you don't learn anything. You don't learn as much from it as we did in this game, for the simple fact that we had to learn to make a play. When the game was on the line, we had to make a play to win, and we did that on Saturday.
Yeah, I thought, you know, overall, I thought we quite frankly, had control of the game, particularly early in the ball game. But like any football game, turnovers play a part. Yep. And, you know, we fumbled twice inside the 25, not to dwell on the negative. But I thought, you know, offensively, once again, Sean Shelton, you know, let's start off talking about him. Mm-hmm. Last 5 games, he was fabulous.
Yeah, he's a pretty good football player. He can do a lot of things to extend the play with his feet, and you know, we got better protecting him down the stretch in the season, and our backs got better in protection and those things. And you know, we did a good enough job mixing the run pass to, you know, to keep teams off balance a little bit and get a couple big plays in the run game. You know, 10, 12, 13-yard gains. Those things will take you a long way. So that was good, and that was all positive. You know, the turnovers you never want to have, and you know, we hadn't fumbled a ball, I think, since maybe Colorado Mines game, and then we've had a couple in the last couple games. And, you know, maybe lack of focus from our players a little bit there. And, you know, for being a defensive coach, I know that sometimes defensive players make good plays on the ball. And when you're playing a team like that understands ball, you know, taking the ball away, and those things may happen from time to time, but you never want that to happen. And, you know, that put us in some difficult positions on Saturday, and not being able to finish, you know, when we had the ball in the red zone 2 different times.
Well, now this season's over, and we can be a little bit more honest and relaxed, because we don't have to worry about our next opponent finding out how many injuries. You know, we went into the last 3 games pretty much without a running game. You had so many injuries with your offensive line, and we've talked about it, and we couldn't be very frank and honest.
Yeah,
I knew after we got done visiting, but you know, you really went to the short passing game and tried to stretch the field every once in a while. Yeah. But I really thought that your receivers really grew, and Sean really got the 3-step short, quick West Coast offense, whatever you want to call it. But you guys were very effective with that at the end.
Yeah, Sean, our quarterback, gives us a chance to do those things, and the group of receiving core that we have, you know, catch the ball well and can get open and those type of deals. And you know, we haven't talked about, like you said, the last second half of the season about our injuries, because you never want to.
It's part of the deal,
put
fans.
that stuff out there for the other team. But yeah, we lost 4 interior linemen down the stretch in the season. Right. 4 of them. You know, Hartley, Massey, Perez, and Kitchens. Those 4, we lost them all, and we finally got Mark and Massey back in a limited role on Saturday. But anytime, at any level, you lose 4 interior offensive linemen, you're going to struggle to do maybe some of the things from an experience perspective that you had done earlier in the season in running the football. And it wasn't a lack of things from our running backs or some of the other things. We just didn't feel as comfortable, you know, with in the running game. You have to be so much more united on the offensive line, and the repetition, reps together and all those things become more important in the running game and the passing game. You can do some, trick protections and slide protections, some different things that are fairly elementary that can help you there and getting rid of the ball quick and those type of things. And so we went to what we had available in the second half of the season, and and it turned out to be very good for us. And I think we've learned a little bit more about ourselves down the stretch here too. Going forward, some more of the things that we have at our disposal that will make us harder to defend next season.
Yeah, I really saw after you guys started getting confidence with the short passing game that you really evolved into a pretty effective attack. That the receivers, you really hit the nail on the head. Because of the injuries, you had to makeshift your offensive line, but your receivers grew with the need for them to be able to grow, and they were running those short routes, and everything was on time. You got to give the receivers a lot of credit.
No doubt about it. Those guys have been tremendous, and we've talked about this several last couple of weeks. Sean's so good at spreading the ball around, and not just one guy. I mean, he's spreading it around. 1 week Molson's our leading pass catcher. Next week Freeman is, Cunningham, Blue. He did a really nice job in getting all of those guys in the mix, and some of the young guys too with Chris Smith and Quentin Reiser and some of those other guys that are coming along that you'll see a lot more of next year. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, it really was. And we talk about injuries. I don't think people realize the last game out down in Kentucky how many injuries we had on the defensive side of the ball. And I look at that though, and we played a lot of freshman kids on defense the last 3 or 4 games of the year. They got a lot of time, and it seemed like they just kept chipping away, and we had more injuries and more injuries. But you would plug guys in, and they would respond for you.
Yeah, it's. Anytime we talked about this before too. We traveled 15 true freshmen this year, and the cold coaching adage: for every freshman that you play, you can chalk up one loss. That's just how it is because of experience and how the college game and high school game and NFL game is when you're playing rookies. But credit to those guys. Those guys stepped in and did some really nice things for us. We went into Saturday's game, and we hadn't talked about this before the game, but Nathan Valentine didn't play a snap. He's got a torn MCL, and he played on it the week before, had a tremendous game, and it just stiffened up on him so much this week, and we couldn't get anything out of it. So, Luis Nicochea, as a true freshman for us, steps in there at will
linebacker. Played a lot at
the
end.
Heck of a game. Played really well, so that was good to see. Eric Jackson, who's been playing very well for us at the outside linebacker position, subluxes his shoulder in the first quarter, and we lose him. And Derek Faulkner came in and did some good things. And, we're playing with the true freshman nose guard after losing Josh Mathis the week before to an ACL.
Jack came along, though, in that game. He made some big plays as the game progressed.
Sam did a nice job. He'll be the first one to be critical of himself for a couple times on backside A-gap cuts when he wasn't in his gap. But we were playing a bunch of young guys over there, and a credit to them for stepping into some of those roles and doing a nice job. But as the game went along and we started to get more beat up, and we lost Tyler Bolus, and we played very well defensively early. I mean, if you really watched through the first quarter and midway through the second quarter, I'm not sure they had much over 100 yards in the first half. And then we started getting some of those injuries and getting depleted a little bit more, and they got some yardage in the second half. We were able to keep the point total down, but we feel like we should play better defense than what we did the other day.
Well, Owen Hodges, I got to bring us up. We got beat on the
fourth down.
Yeah, on the up at route, but boy, he made a great interception at the end. Of course, he's a Blue Springs guy, so always got his back. But he did redeem himself. That was a great football play.
That was a great play. We talked about before needing to make a play to get off the field, and there's 30 seconds left, and they've probably got maybe 3 more plays, and we run a combination zone man pressure, a kind of a flooded zone pressure, and he ends up rolling to the deep half to his side on that play, and sees the quarterback and makes a great play on the football. Catches it like a receiver in the corner of the end zone, and that's a guy we're really going to miss. He's our defensive player of the week for this week, and he's been that guy all year. Just a really good football player. Transferred here from Drake after 1 year starting for them as a true freshman at Drake, and hasn't disappointed since he's been here. His first year, unfortunately, in his first game, his first season, breaks his leg, and comes back from that and started for us the last several years, and just a tremendous football player and a better person.
Well, I tell you what last area we'll put the Wesleyan game to bed is your specialty teams. I want to tell you, you had to be there, and we were all there. The wind was howling from the south. Yeah. I mean, howling. I would say 40 miles an hour gust at least.
Yeah.
And your kicking game really held true. Freebird and Danny both did really an excellent job.
They did. That was, we talked about in our staff meeting today. I didn't think we played particularly well at times on offense and defense. Now we did some good things, but we didn't execute as well as we needed to on both sides of the ball there. Probably our brightest spot Saturday was our kicking game. We gave up a couple kickoff returns to them that maybe a couple more yards than what we would have liked to because we're trying to get Warren to kick it into their deep left,
right,
and the wind was blowing it back to the middle of the field and
making it
hard to
helicopter
cover
every time he tried to kick the ball.
Yeah, so that made it tough there. But there's some big plays there. The field goals were big. Megan, some punts that he got inside.
A 70-yarder.
A 70-yarder, and the other one, if we field
down there, we get inside the 5.
We field it. That's an 83-yarder. If we field it and kill it on the 1, and it just snuck into the end zone on us, and the block field goal that we recover. And
that was huge.
And then when their kickoff return coming out of half, that Thomas Clanton reaches into the returner and strips the ball out, and we recover. And we got 2 takeaways there on special teams, which is unheard of. If you get 2 takeaways in special teams, you better win because those are huge plays. And Coach Weigel has done such a fantastic job with that group. And special teams, we talk about traveling 15 freshmen. All of those guys are playing on special teams. So you're playing with a bunch of young guys that athletically are very talented, but maybe haven't been, doing this at the college level for very long. And Coach Weigel's done a nice job of getting those guys in the right places and in the positions to be able to make some plays.
Well, it was a great win. Like I said, our goal we talked about for the last 3 or 4 weeks is to win those last 3. So let's talk a little bit about the offseason. Mm-hmm. Talk about where you're at. Typical football coach, you came in and said, I wished I was 5-5 before we started this show. But, 4-6, I alluded to you. I just came from the golf course, and the guy said, hey, I saw where Jewel won another one. That's 3 in a row. I mean, people are talking.
Yeah.
We ended it with a real good taste in our mouth. Let's talk about next year and some of your plans and where you want to go.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. As good as I feel sitting here, like we talked about earlier, I'd feel great if we'd won the Rolla game where we missed the 2-point conversion and we end up losing by 2, and we won that one. Now we're really flying high, I think, and looking at the games we won and the games we lost, you look at those losses and that stretch in the middle of the season. Going back and kind of looking where everybody finished and how everybody was during the year. 4 of those 6 losses, 4 of those teams were at one point in the year ranked in the top 25 in the NCAA Division II level, and then the other one, Sioux Falls, played for 3 national championships before this year in the NAIA, and they're on the same level moving up with us. And so we lost to some really good competition, and we competed well at times. And you'd like to think that you can sneak one of those out, but we weren't quite there yet this year. But for us to increase our winning percentage in our first year in the NCAA over last year even, and start out that way in our trek into this level is very good and very exciting. And our players, to finish this year on a 3-game win streak, and learning how to win down the stretch here.
That's so important. We talk about it.
Exactly. It helps recruiting a lot, and it helps us moving into next year, and you look at a lot of things, and, I'm feeling pretty good right now because we haven't felt a loss for a while. And there's not going to be many teams in the country that are going to finish the year with a 3-game win streak. Even if you make the playoffs, unless you win it all, you're going to lose at some point. Mm-hmm. And so that's a good feeling right now. We're not where we want to be from a competition standpoint yet. We don't want to be 4-6. We want to be at the very highest level we can compete at, and that would be, conference championships, and that kind of sets the table for the playoffs and those type of things. So looking at our schedule for next year and how that falls into place, we'll be really excited about our first full season in our new conference and playing some of the competition we played this year. We were 2-2 against conference teams this year and lost 1 on a 2-point conversion, and feel good about if we can continue to progress like we have over the last 2 seasons and moving into next year, we should see some really good things.
So about recruiting needs. I always thought that was fun. I had an
Yeah.
opportunity to be a grad assistant in Wyoming.
Yeah.
And I know how hard recruiting is.
Yeah.
It's really a hard thing to do, and it's a fun thing to do, but it's a hard thing to do. What are you do you divide it up by basic needs? Do you look at, you try to bracket what you need as far as offense, defense, specialty teams? You talked about your 15 freshmen, so you've got a good nucleus coming back. How are you looking at the recruiting situation coming in this season?
As from a broad scope, I look at it and go, okay, where are we at? Where's our depth at each position? And what do I feel about the players we have at those positions? Are they guys that are capable of helping us win and do the things we want to do? And as we all know, competition makes us all better. So if we can continue to create competition at all of those positions and push each other, the team just, continues to get better in that way. So, we'll look for players at just about every position. Obviously, we have some positions that we feel our needs a little bit higher, our depth isn't quite as good.
Didn't you say the offensive, defensive lines?
Yeah, we're going to graduate, a guy on offensive line and defensive line, and maybe our numbers weren't quite what we wanted there to start the season this year. So those will be two areas we look at. But we'll add some guys at probably every position again. Is if you're not doing that, you're not being diligent on how you're building it and the sustainability of it as you go forward. So, We've done a lot on the recruiting front already that people don't realize. Recruiting started for us. When signing date got over last year in February, we started already recruiting for this year. So we've been really working pretty diligently at it since May. And on our bye weeks this year, our coaches were out in schools and talking to coaches about some of their players from this year. And we've been on the phone once a week with a lot of players in our individual recruiting areas. And the coaches will be out again tomorrow, this week, back in schools again, and then December 1st, right when we get back from Thanksgiving, they're out. The NCAA's contact period starts December 1st, so they'll be out actually seeing kids in school.
Really roll then.
And we'll have our first official visit on December 10th, and then we'll have 4 more in January, and February, whatever it is this year, first Wednesday in February will roll around, and hopefully we'll be able to match or exceed the level of class that we had last year, because we think last year's class was pretty special.
Well, for the fans, because they don't understand the recruiting process a lot, how many people do you bring in on that typically on one weekend in the 4 weekends that you could go ahead and have on campus?
We maybe do it a little bit different than some people. The things I tell players that I'm looking for, that we're looking for in players are, one, good student. Because you have to be to go to school here to get this type of education. You've got to be a good student, and we can see that on their transcript. 2, good player. To do the things we want to do, you've got to be a good football player. We can see that on film and from talking to their coaches. The biggest thing out of those 3 is good person, and we can't for sure know that we're getting the right person until we get to spend some quality time with both them and their family. And I tell them all, you can be 1 and 2. If you're not 3, I don't want you. Because as you know, if you surround yourself with good people, at the end of the day, you can't help but be successful. So those are the things we're looking for. So in our visit day process, those things are a little bit more intimate. Some people believe in bringing in a whole bunch of numbers and throwing a bunch against the wall and see what sticks. And so they'll bring in 25, 30 guys on an official visit for one weekend. We don't want to get over 10. We may get to 12 every now and then. I would think
a school this size, that's probably good philosophy, because you want to be a little bit more personal and actually talking with them.
I really think anywhere, my philosophy at any school, that's how I would do it. If I was a head coach somewhere else, that's how I would do it, because if you as a head coach and position coaches and recruiting coaches don't know the product you're getting, that you're going to spend money on, there's a business aspect to this.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to invest scholarship money, and the president's given me the ability to spend, a large amount of money in the scholarship process. I better know the product. And if I'm not doing my due diligence to the institution and to our coaches and our players going forward. So that's very important to us. So we'll have 10 or so on our official visits. That allows us with our staff to be very personable and really get to know the type of person. Because by that point, we know what kind of academic they are, and we know what kind of player they are.
Right.
The missing link there is the person.
And whether they fit in.
Right, exactly. And we get a very good feel, in that environment of whether we think that we've got the right one or not. Now are we wrong? Sure. You can fool us. And but our chances of being wrong are a whole lot smaller when you do it that way. And we haven't been fooled much. We've been fooled a couple times in the last couple of years, but not much. And so that helps with retention and everything going forward.
Well, another great season. I really think you and your staff did an excellent job, and I'm really proud of the seniors here at Jewel. I thought they provided great leadership for you to take this program to Division II. They were prepared and ready to go, the entire team, and I think there's great things in the future. I know there might be a couple people you might want to thank because this is the last show. So go ahead.
No, you mentioned the seniors, and we've talked about this in prior shows. That group is pretty special to me. That's the first group. When I got here 4 seasons ago as a defensive coordinator, they were freshmen. That was the first group that I've been able to kind of watch go through and grow as people and players and all of those things. And for them to stick with me on this deal and our coaching staff on this deal as we took the job a couple years ago, and and the things that we had set forth going forward and the leadership they provided through that has been very good. And I don't do this enough. I get way too much credit for some of the good things that are going on here. It's not me, it's our coaching staff, and our players. We've got a tremendous group of coaches who you've got to know well here over the last couple of years, and good people. And my focus in hiring a staff was the same as it was with players. Good coaches, good teachers. At the end of the day, very good people. And if you surround yourself with those type of things, which I think we've got here, it gives you a chance to not only be successful on the field, but at the end of the day, and you were in this for the same reason. My funnest day of the year is when we stand down here at graduation, and those guys that people told that you're never going to graduate and all those things, they grow in that way. And the guys that come into my office and want to talk about family problems or girlfriend, all of those things.
It's a lot more than just football, isn't it?
Most of it isn't football, to be honest with you.
You're exactly
right.
And
that's the most gratifying part of it. And if you surround yourself with the right people, you can't help but be successful. And I really can't give enough credit to our coaches in the work that they do on a daily basis and all the little things behind the scene to make things operate as efficiently as they do. And we're very efficient, and we're very conscious of how we use our time, and our coaches do such a good job with the organization and travel and all of the other things that are involved with it. So thank you to those guys and you guys. Nobody knows the work that you and Rick and Mark do, and the time that you guys spend on this. And it's not, Owensboro, Kentucky is not just down the road. You guys, that's a couple-day trip for you, and so thank you for you guys for all the work you do. What we've been able to do from a video standpoint this year and these shows and all of that stuff just helps the growth of where we're going. We're doing this a lot better right now than a lot of Division II schools in this area. From the information and the website and the broadcast side of things, we're doing this at a very high level in our first year, and that's a tribute to you guys and the time that you spent with it and the work you put into it. So thank you guys.
Well, I appreciate that, and I have nothing but positive things to say for the future of William Jewell. I really sincerely mean that. Even though, like I said, you buy into it when you're around it, and that's because you have good people involved. Yeah. And you've already pointed that. It's been a great run. Again, I'm looking forward to next season. Now, actually, I'm a little bit depressed because football season's over. We move on to basketball. I know that Rick will continue to cover all the different sports, basketball, baseball, etc. And I know you'll be on the recruiting trail. And then, like I said, you really be working hard. Football season's over, but not for you. It just really kicks you to a different level.
Everybody asks, okay, cool. Well, Coach, are you excited the season's over and, get a little downtime now? And unfortunately, as you know, that's not the case. We jump right into it this week, and we'll get a few days over Thanksgiving, which is nice. The holidays come at a good time for us because we can't really get to see kids during that time. We really don't want to get into that part of the world right now. So,
well, that's the last edition for the 2011 football season of Inside the Cardinal Playbook. It's been a great season. We got off to a great start as far as the Division II school is concerned. Like I said, there's great things ahead of us in the future, and I just want to wish everybody happy holidays, and we'll see you on the basketball trails here in the wintertime.